Hey everyone, welcome into the Flippin' Hippos YouTube channel. I'm Star, and today we're going to be talking about something other than reselling. This is a reselling teaching channel, but sometimes I want to talk about other stuff, and I do other stuff, as you all should be too. We should all have a really nice balance to our lives, to where our jobs and reselling aren't completely our lives and everything that we do. So, you guys know I'm a huge horror movie fan. I love Halloween. I love my boy Michael. And I go to Halloween Horror Nights pretty much every year. We didn't go in 2020 for the obvious reasons. And every year I go, I take all these pictures and I take all these videos and I have all these intentions to do this stuff with it. And I don't. And this year, Halloween Horror Nights kind of hit at the same time that I have been reimagining how I'm doing content and how I'm doing videos. If you watched my FlipCon review video where I talked about my biggest takeaway from that, I go more into this. I'll have that pop up at the end. But I'm going through, a transition where I'm doing more short videos. I've got myself on TikTok now. And so now I know how to take the footage I got from Halloween Horror Nights and make it into smaller short form content videos to share with everyone my experience instead of bringing home all this footage like I did every other year since like 2018 and just looking at it and thinking, how do I edit all of this together for one 20-minute video? And it always seemed so overwhelming, just heavy. And so I just never really shared it with you guys. So that all being said, I will be putting out the footage I got in short 20-second to 1 minute long videos. I don't know how many they're going to be. I'm just going to go through all of the footage. I filmed a whole bunch of stuff and make these little tiny 20-second to 1 minute videos. And I will be posting them on TikTok and Instagram until I'm out. So I'm going to use everything I filmed while I was there and just make as many as I can until they're gone. And you guys can kind of see the experience and go through the scare zones with me and see some of what we saw and experienced while we were there. If you're not following us on TikTok or Instagram, we are Flippin' Hippos on all social media. So find us there and you can see the actual footage from the Universal Halloween Horror Nights park. They do not let you film in the houses. They only let you film you can film in the line in the house all the way right up to when you enter. Some of the houses have movies playing outside or things that go along with the theme of the house. They let you film all of that, but once you're in the house, you can't film. And then they have their scare zones where you're walking through the streets and they're themed and have scare actors running around and interacting with you in really great sets. And they let you film there. So I can't show you any footage from inside the houses. I just want to talk about the houses real quick. And I wanted to let everyone know that I will be releasing the short videos for your viewing pleasure, but I can only tell you about the houses. Now, the thing about Halloween Horror Nights is it's not like a traditional haunt or haunted house that many of us go to. A lot of those houses put you through in groups, small groups. Sometimes, if you're with 2 or 3 people, you'll get put with 2 or 3 strangers, but they put you through in small groups and they space it out so that while your group is being scared by this jump scare or this, thing popping out of the wall, the group behind you has no idea what's going on in front of them yet. And you just kind of go through in your group and you experience it and you can kind of take your time and look at stuff and react to stuff. At Halloween Horror Nights, they run you through in a continually moving line of people, much like cattle in a cattle herding thing. You're just in a line and it's just constantly moving. So you wait in the line to get in. And they're really good about the times. If you have their app and plenty of places in the park, they have signs up. And then at each house in the front of the house, they have a sign up on the wait time. So you at any time you can see this house has a 60-minute wait. This is a 40-minute wait. So they're really good at communicating the times and estimating how much time it's going to take. Even with the folks there with the fast passes, I feel like the estimated times are always like right on, or you get in a little sooner. Anyway, you wait in line outside, and when you get to the door and start going in, then you just start moving. And it is like cattle being herded through a chute. It's just, you're just moving in this continuing line. So when the jump scares happen and when things pop out and things that are supposed to be startling occur, the people in front of you saw it happen to the people in front of them, and onwards. So there's not a lot of the jump scares that can get you. Sometimes some of them are spaced out far enough that they can. I jumped a few times. I got scared a few times. A couple of the scare actors really did get me. But I think those ones are timed differently. So like everything in there is timed and it's on the loop. If you've never been, that's the best way I can explain it. You've got a line of people continually moving through, and then in each room of the house, they have a scene that's playing over and over and over again. And depending on where you're at in the line and what time you go through is what part of that scene you see. So you may see nothing in some rooms. You may see people jumping out to scare you for the jump scares, or a part of a scene from a movie different from what other people see. So each room is like its own scene, and just keeps acting over and over. Some of their houses are based on movies or shows, and so they try to recreate some of the most popular or iconic scenes from those TVs, shows, or those movies, and it just plays on a loop. And then some of their houses are just really cool themes, and they just create a scene. The best example I can give you before I get into the real quick review I have of the houses is like the scene in Michael Myers, the scene in the original 1978 Halloween, where Michael has the girl. Oh, I am totally bad for forgetting her name because this is my favorite horror movie of all time. But he has her with the phone cord and he's choking her and he kills her. So in the house, she pops out of the closet with the phone and he chokes her and they go back in and it just goes. So as far as like getting your money's worth or whatever, Keith seems to think, and this is his opinion, that Halloween Horror Nights is the worst ripoff of all because he doesn't like horror movies, by the way, or Halloween. He tolerates these things because he loves me and he will take me and go through them. He does find enjoyment in watching me because when I get scared, I scream bloody murder. I have tried to climb people and run out of houses. I'm the entertainment for him. But he says at least at the other places I take him to, the whole group thing where, you don't know what's coming. And even he can get startled once in a while. He doesn't like the whole being ushered through. Now, that being said, I think the thing with Universal Studios, it's more about the production of the house than the scares. It's Universal. They make movies. They make really good props. They do really good costume makeup. They do really good building of sets and scenes. And so I think at Halloween Horror Nights, the experience is more about experiencing the scene and being part of the set and seeing the actors and all of the music and the ambiance and the makeup and everything. Just you're like part of this movie set and you're experiencing that as you go through it. And it's more about that and the Universal Studios experience than it is about, oh, I got scared and someone jumped at me. But there are scares. There are definitely times there are jump scares. People jump out at you. Unexpected things will fall, the parts of the house or whatever. The scare zones, it's hard to get scared there because they're just wandering all over the place, but they can. I mean, there's definitely props in the middle of the street that look like it's a prop, and then an actor will jump out at you. Some of them will get right in your face and yell. It's really cool. It's an overall cool experience. It's not scary. Like when I go to Screamageddon here or the Field of Screams back up in Pittsburgh, I would get scared, and those were the places where I would like try to climb out of a hayride or run off of a bridge because I thought an alligator was coming and get really scared. So it's not really about that, but it is definitely a good experience. I definitely recommend if you are into Halloween and or horror movies that at least once in your life, make it a bucket list that you go to see Halloween Horror Nights. They do it at the Universal in California as well as the one here in Orlando. So they have 10 houses And they're open from like 6 to 2 a.m. That was this year. Some years have more or less houses. You're never going to see all of the houses unless you go more than one night or you buy an express pass. We've never gone more than one night, and I don't see the point of buying an express pass, honestly. I guess unless you want to see all the houses, duh. I just said that. So we've always just gone in with the mindset of I'm not going to get to see all the houses. So before I go each year, I sit down and put in order of most importance that I want to see. And I make sure that I see the ones that I'm really there for first and work my way down. Some of the ones that I like often have like 15-minute wait times. I like a lot of the stuff with the old Universal monsters. They like the Bride of Frankenstein last year. This year they had Legends Collide, which was like the Mummy and the Werewolf and Dracula. But then there's houses like Halloween that was the first one we went to as soon as the gates opened, and there was already a 40-minute wait. So I always make a list in order of importance and then get a map at the front and work my way around based on order of importance, but also with the map. If like my first and third choices are here and my second choice is all the way across the park, clearly I'm going to do these two next to each other and then go. So this year I actually wrote down ratings just to share with you real quick. Personally, but you're gonna be able to tell this by my ratings. I enjoy the houses that are based on movies or TV shows the best, because there's that whole commiserating and that geeking out of, oh my gosh, I remember this scene from the show, or I remember this scene from the movie, or this was my favorite, most iconic scene. Like I get all hype. I get hype. I get really excited. They had the Haunting of Hill House last year, and I absolutely just loved every second of it. The original 1978 Halloween was the first ever horror movie I ever saw as a child. It began my lifelong love of all things horror and Halloween. I like all the movies. I like all the genres. I like all the dudes, the killers, Jason, Freddy, Leatherface. I love them all. Pinhead, Chucky, but this was my number one horror love. The original movie started this lifelong affair. So I actually did get this coffee mug for myself. It has iconic scenes from the original 1978 movie, and I did get the shirt too. I got a shirt last year, so now I have two shirts. Yay! So, I like the ones that are based on movies and shows. Having one based on Halloween was like the ultimate geek out experience for me. It is it's my absolute favorite. Like, there's no better horror movie to me ever than the 1978 Halloween, and all the sequels were okay. Some were better than others. So we go into the house. The first step in, you hear the music, the iconic Halloween Michael Myers music, and the air is colder, and this chill came over me, and I didn't know whether I wanted to laugh or cry or just like immerse myself in this. It was like being in the movie. It was so amazing. They recreated all the best scenes. Like I said, they had the one where he kills her with the phone cord. You remember when he stabbed the boyfriend into the wall? They had a body hanging in the wall and Michael standing there looking. They had just all the best scenes. They had you had to go through the clothesline with the sheet scene. They had the gravestone on the bed. And then at the it was a long house. Like, I'm not giving you everything that was in there. I'm just mentioning some of it. But as I went through and I saw, and I was like inside of the movie and all of these scenes that I remembered, it was really good. I liked it a lot. It was my favorite house, obviously. And there were times where I was like clapping and because I was so excited to see in front of me brought to life just my favorite scenes. They did have the little kid dressed up as the clown too. It was a really great house. And at the end, there's like a surprise. I don't want to ruin it, but I said out loud, that's too many Michaels. It's too much for me. I gave that house a 10. So on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm assuming a 5 would be like your average scare house or haunted house. And anything below that would be poo. And so, like a 6 to 7 is good, an 8 or 9 is amazing, and a 10 is just as perfect as you can get. So the only house I gave a 10 to was Halloween, because in my mind, nothing else can be as good as Halloween. The second house I went to, I gave a 9, and honestly, it should have had a 9.5 or a 10, if I'm being honest, but I can't give anything else a 10. Halloween was the best, and it always will be the best, and that was the best house I've ever been to at any Halloween Horror Nights in all the years I've been and all the houses I've been to. The only other thing that may have gotten close was when they had the scare zone with the Rob Zombie Dracula and the lookalike of him and his wife, and all the Rob Zombie scary stuff. But second house we went to was the Bloom house. So this was actually 2 houses in one, which was really cool. So you wait in line, you're 45 minutes to an hour, but you go through the first house, you come out through like a little walkway break, and you immediately go into your second house. The reason there were 2 houses is because they did 2 of the recent Blumhouse movies, both of which I have seen and loved. The first house was Freaky. I actually saw that movie twice. It's like a Freaky Friday, but it's Vince Vaughn and a young actress whose name I cannot remember, but she was also in the Pikachu movie. They switched souls just like in Freaky Friday, except that he's a serial killer. So now he's in a teenage girl's body. And then Vince Vaughn is acting like a teenage girl. So it's like a comedy horror. It's a really good movie. The house was done really well. I did see the movie twice. I watched it once alone, and then I had Keith watch it with me before we went to Halloween Horror Nights. So he would get the house. So he would understand the scenes and what was going on. It was really great. They had all the best scenes from the movie again. Some jump scares going through. And then the second Blumhouse was Black Phone, which is an amazing horror movie. If you haven't seen it yet, I highly recommend it. It's based on a short story by Joe Hill, who in his own right and in his own merit standing alone is an excellent, excellent horror author. But he is also Stephen King's son. But I know he doesn't like to stand on that. He likes to stand on his own laurels, which is why he goes by Joe Hill. He's an amazing writer. Black Phone was a very good short story, but the movie brought it to life. And Ethan Hawke is such an amazing villain. So it's a great movie. And the house was done so well. Again, just really scary. There were some really scary, gritty scenes from the movie they brought to life in the house. So I'd give it a 9.5. It probably deserves a 10 between the fact that there were 2 houses based off of 2 movies and they were done really well. I just can't bring myself to rate anything out of 10 except for Halloween. So the third house I went to was called Spirits of the Coven. It was basically witches from the 20s. And it was neat. They had like a guy playing the piano with old 20s music, and there was like a prohibition kind of feeling to it, and the 1920s vibe, and then there were witches and demons. It was a good house. It was fun to look at. The props and effects were great. I gave that one an 8. And then we went to Dead Man's Pier, which is pirates in the sea and the ocean. I liked that one. It felt really cold inside of there, and you were getting splashed with water, and there were scenes with boats in the ocean and the dead pirates. And I read somewhere it was a sequel to a house they had done back in 2012 or 2016. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that was also a pirate themed one. And this was a sequel to that. I had not seen the original. This one was good. I gave it a 7, solid 7. So entertaining, really good, above average, just not like blow your mind. And again, that could be because it's not based on a movie. I could be rating the ones based on movies higher because I enjoy being inside the recreated movie more than just, oh, look, hey, we made up some witches and pirates. But then we went to Hell Block Horror. I really liked this one too. It was like in a jail. So it was like a jailbreak and prisoners running around, and there were like demons. I think there were zombies. There was a lot going on in that one, and flashing lights and fog and the siren blaring like from a jailbreak. I really liked that one too. I gave it a 7. Then we went to Descendants of Destruction, which was meant to be in the subway of New York City. And there were people in gas masks, I want to say. There was a lot going on in that one too, but the scenery was really great. it looked like you were in a subway car at one point with like the seats and the poles and everything. There were rats, of course. You were in the sewer. The signs for like the subway in New York. There were bodies and bombs. It was great. I gave it a 7 too. Also, so I gave Halloween a 10, Freaky a 9, Spirits of the Covenant an 8. That one probably got an 8 because I have a huge interest in the 1920s and witches. And then the Dead Man's Pier, the Hell Block Horror, which is the jail, and the one in the subway, Descendants of Destruction, all got 7s. And then we made it to one more house. So we actually did get to 7 houses out of 10. So the last one we did was Legends Collide, which was the Mummy and the Wolfman and Dracula, like the original Universal horror monsters. I love the original Universal monsters. I love, love, love them. Mummy's probably my least favorite though. And this was very mummy centric. Now there was a whole story going on outside playing on a movie for you to look at and listen to before you went in to get the story. But basically the wolf man had received a letter and he went to Egypt to the pyramids because there was a cure for his wolfism. And so of course it was, very Egypt. I felt like Dracula was just kind of shoved in there as an afterthought. I don't think he made sense. So when you first went in the house, you're in Egypt, there's the pyramids, there's the mummy, okay, cool. And then the wolfman would jump out at you, but the mummy's not my favorite. I still gave the house an overall 8. So I did really like the Universal monsters. I loved the Wolfman. He was cool. There was more than one Wolfman, different rooms. And there was one Dracula. I won't tell you where he was at in the house. I'm not giving you any spoilers. But there was one Dracula that did actually get me. Like, he came out and I didn't see it coming and I had a jump scare and I screamed, but then I just immediately started laughing and clapping because Dracula is my favorite. I love vampires. So I was like, oh my God, it's you. I was like fangirling over Dracula. So that was a good time. We did not make it to 3 of the houses. So we did get to 7 out of 10. We did not see the bugs, which I kind of am disappointed about. That was based like in 1950s and they had like giant bugs. I would have liked to have seen that one. They had one with Chupacabras. And then they had one based on The Weeknd. Yes, the singer, you heard me. It was supposed to be some backstage. That was actually the last one on my list. I have really no interest in that. I mean, if you like The Weeknd, I'm probably sure you would have liked the house and you can go make that your first priority, but it was actually my last. I have a little bit of FOMO and disappointment about missing the bugs and the Chupacabras. Not so much on The Weeknd, but yeah. So overall, I gave 3 houses 7s, 2 of them an 8, 1 a 9.5, and 1 a 10. But those are my opinions based on my experiences. Again, I love the ones on movies. You may not like witches, but you may like pirates a lot more, so you might enjoy that one. So if you're gonna go, I always recommend look on their site and see what they're about and make your own list of your priorities. But all of the sets, the makeup, the props, all of it were great in every house. It's Universal Studios. They make movies. They have the best of everything, right? So they always do a really good job. The scare zones were good this year. I really liked them. There was one that really scared me a lot. I didn't like it so much because it really kind of was creepy. The Scarecrow scare zone, we were going through that pretty late at night, and they didn't have a lot of light, and it was very, very dark, and there was hay, and it looked like corn, and there were scarecrows coming out, and Children of the Corn is one of those movies and this book, too, the short story by Stephen King. They scared the ever-living hell out of me. I don't like creepy kids, and I don't like cornfields because of that movie/story. And it was dark, and there were scarecrows, and I was thinking of Jeepers Creepers, and that one really scared me, but a fun scare, like a controlled, I love to be scared. Not much scares me anymore. So when I can go to an event like this and get myself all hyped up and get scared, it's a good day. So if you want to see the actual footage of the scare zones and what I got from around the park, again, I'll be putting out short videos pretty much every one a day until I'm out of footage. So follow me on TikTok or Instagram at flippinhippos. I hope you enjoyed this video. It probably won't be everyone's cup of tea. This is a reselling channel, and not everyone likes horror and Halloween, but a lot of you guys do. So I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what you think down in the comments. Hit the thumbs up before you leave and subscribe to the channel if you guys would. I will be putting out, actual reselling content. And join my Facebook group. It's called Flippin' Hippos Reseller Pod. It's a really great group. And again, don't forget to follow us on Twitter. Nope, not Twitter, TikTok and Instagram. Flippin' Hippos. Hey guys, go be productive, go make some money, but make sure you take some time for yourself and do something fun. Do something spooky for Halloween. I'll see you guys next time. Y'all are the best. Bye.